Hello ladies and gentlemen, Nick here, and welcome to my review of the Doctor Who Season 2 story, The Dalek Invasion of Earth, which is the second story in this season, and it's the second Dalek story. Coincidentally, both Dalek stories so far have been second stories in their seasons. The Daleks was the second in Season 1. This pattern will change with the next Dalek story, as that will be the 8th and penultimate story of Season 2, and Season 3 will see, well, the Daleks will be in the second story of that season, but they'll also be in the 4th, and they'll be in Season 4's 4th and 9th stories, the 9th being the finale. In fact, they make more first appearances in season opener stories than second stories in a season. Day of the Daleks, Destiny of the Daleks, Remembrance of the Daleks, and Asylum of the Daleks, and The Magician's Apprentice, which is familiar, all come to mind, plus they're a cameo in the pilot. Yeah, Into the Dalek is a second story of a series, though. I think first stories just beats the number of second stories of a series that the Daleks appear in. Okay, never mind. So, the Dalek Invasion of Earth. Brilliant. Smashing. There is a few execution problems, such as a couple of deaths. They just look a little pathetic, and sometimes people just backed into a corner and killed. Oh, come on, you could have killed them better than that. If not, don't bother at all. Such as the guy who's trying to make for the Cornish coast. But he's just cornered by the Daleks and killed, even though he's surrendering. There's another scene where it kind of looks like a flashback. A woman looks like she's trying to escape, and a roadman chops her in the back of her, chops her in the side of the neck. Does she die? It looks like it. And then, just not long before that, episode 2, there's this guy who's trying to escape. He gets cornered by the Daleks. He shouts, "Help me!" And the Black Dalek, well, the Daleks also command the Dalek, actually, comes up and says, "Kill him!" And they kill him. To be honest, that character's death in the movie was much better. The 1966 Dalek movie, which I'll have to, along with the first movie, I'll have to review at some point. But, my god, the movie version death was much better. They at least had him cornered after he tried to escape and he failed. This time around, he didn't get very far. At least the other time, he managed to get a bit further from a good distance from the ship. Here, it was just some Daleks cornered him, and they just pathetically killed him. At least in the film version, it was really cool. There was a nice little action scene. I know they don't have the budget for an action scene, but at least they could have given it a little bit more dignity. It just looks so pathetic. They didn't even need to bother killing him off. The only reason they did was just to show how merciless the Daleks is, and that's the one positive about this death, is that the Daleks are merciless most of the time. But it's still a pretty pathetic death that probably didn't need to worry about. There's quite a few deaths. Some of the deaths are actually pretty good. The Sliver I don't think needed to be there. He's just not really that much. He falls down a mine and presumably dies. It's not really that needed. I think he could have been used a bit better. However, quite a few other moments are pretty cool. There's some pretty good stuff. I like the character of Dorman. He's a much better character in this than in the movie. In the movie, he's just both versions. He's this grumpy resistance leader who's trying to fight. But in this version, he's a little bit more kinder and nicer to the characters, and even self-sacrificing himself in a way, as opposed to just idiotically just trying to take the Daleks on himself. And I also say the scene where Barbara smashes through some Daleks, that's pretty cool. It's better in the movie, but it still looks really cool here. And the story is really well told. The emotion is well handled between Susan and David. That's well developed and well handled. It looks very good. And stuff in the series is actually pretty interesting, and it's it's got some great moments, and the story just is able to go from part of the story to part of the story, and it's great that they're moving the characters around, different events taking place. The first part is mostly a setup. It's mostly the Doctor and his companions looking around to meet some of the other characters. Then the Doctor and Ian get cornered by Robomen, and then at the very end, a Dalek appears. The first episode, I think, is one of the best first episodes of the show so far, along with An Unearthly Child Part 1, The Keys of Marinus Part 1, The Aztecs Part 1, and Planet of Giants Part 1. They have been the Keys of Marinus, Aztec. I think these have been the 5 best first parts of a Doctor Who story at this point. And I think this would be the second best first part after An Unearthly Child, of course. And it is still really good, and the story just goes from strength to strength. It is a bit of a slow in some places, but I think for this story, I think 6 parts works, certainly better than 7. I don't think the Daleks could have needed to be 7, I think it could have been 5 or 6. This one, I think 6 parts is perfect, although the ending is a little bit, the climax is a bit rushed, but we do have the nice ending with a nice romantic, emotional ending. That's well handled. I do think it goes on a bit longer, and also, this is just me, but why did the Doctor take Susan's shoe and leave her with one shoe? Why not just take them both, or leave them both with her? I don't know. Just kind of annoyed by that. But that's me. But as for the end, but how it is executed, it's executed well. I just think the very ending, the climax of the story was a little bit rushed to make sure there was time for this emotional goodbye. I think the emotional goodbye could have been, I think it takes up 5 to 10 minutes. I think it could have been 4 to 8 minutes, and therefore we could have an extra minute or two for the climax. And it's not really made clear if the Dalek sources were destroyed. I think they mentioned they were. That the Daleks were destroyed. Of course, there are the Daleks on Earth, the Daleks on Skara and in space. They would still be around, but still, it's not really made clear, and it's not. It's a great climax, but it's not amazing. The story does have a couple of problems, and it's mainly in the execution. However, on a script base, it is pretty brilliant. It is amazing, and it's great. The acting is amazing, especially from the main characters, and that emotional final scene, that's great and brilliantly performed. I'm just annoyed that he took one of the shoes and didn't return it. And yeah, it's, again, it could have been something that they didn't need to address. It could have just been the Doctor needed an excuse to go inside the ship. Oh well, but still, it's a brilliant story. I think there was just a few niggles mainly with the execution, but still pretty marvellous. It's not only is it a worthy sequel to the Daleks, but it's a brilliant follow-up. I do not think it's the best Dalek story of the Hartnell era. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to them. I think there's 2 more that's better than this one, but I do think there's also 2 more that are weaker than this one, and one of them is also coming up. So we've got 3 more Dalek stories to come up. 2 of them I think are better. One of them is worse, and this one could be a middle one for Hartnell stories. 60s ones, again, it'd be a middle one, I suppose. If not slightly lower, it depends on what I think of the Charlton ones. But certainly it is a great classic Dalek story, and a great classic story, full stop. Not completely perfect, and it's mainly the execution, as I mentioned, but still ruddy brilliant. So the Dalek Invasion of Earth, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Brilliant, and just really great. Like I said, not completely perfect, but still great. there were some bits the movie version did better, and there were some bits this version did better. So, yeah. With the Daleks, it's pretty much the same, except I would say more stuff was done right by the film. Okay, so that's the Dalek Invasion of Earth. I will be continuing Season 2 with The Rescue, which introduces Vicky, who replaces Susan as one of the companions. And this one, following a 6-parter story, it's actually pretty short. It's only 2 parts. It is the shortest story of the season. Comes to that. Is this the last 2-parter before 1975? Yeah. Yeah, it's the last 2-parter before 1975. There was only 2. Yeah. Bit odd. So, yeah. Nice little short one after that 6-part epic, although, considering that this season is mostly 6 and 4-parters, it's a bit more spready, even out. We had a 3-parter that was chopped down from 4 to start off, then we had the 6, now we've got 2 next, then it's 4, then it's 6, then it's 4, then it's another 4, then it's 6, and we end on a 4. So this season is a bit more spread out. If something like this had happened last season, where it was mostly 6s, then it was 4, 7, 2, 7s. Yeah, we got one of those. Then we had them 6, 4, 6, 6. If we had another 2 somewhere along those lines, probably between the 2, one of the 6s, then it would have been a bit better. One or both of the 2 of the 6s. But okay, so End of Destruction was pretty much the season 1 equivalent of that. And most of season 3 will be 4 parts. It's just only the 2 Dalek stories that won't be. So that's mostly good. So that's it from me. Thank you for watching. Next time it's The Rescue, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye. Don't forget to click below to subscribe to the official Nicholas Payne Retro YouTube channel. Wrong story, that's later. Hear me?